Good evening, that was a great way to start off. Good evening, everybody. How are we tonight?
Happy Monday.
We are ready to go just a little bit earlier than anticipated, so that's probably a good thing, considering the fact that we were supposed to start 15 minutes ago, about. All right. So our cameras are a little bit smaller than normal just because we wanted to not block any of the images that we've got for our background here, our splash page. And I need to set something up on my phone because I forgot to do that. But, Samson, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. Really busy day, but very busy week. Some amazing nerd stuff went down.
Yeah, let's talk about that stuff to start off with. You know, let's what specifically?
Well, I mean, Endgame, obviously.
Yeah, that was the big one for me.
Yeah.
Endgame was okay. So the part went. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I will just say that there were some awesome moments in it. I cried several times.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it a second time yet. I will probably cry again at all the same moments.
Yeah.
Kashra, Panic Roll, Ellie, hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Thanks very much for tuning in tonight. Panic Roll, what's for dinner tonight? Got to start off by asking. Kashra says I would love to have a Hydra. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute, but it would be kind of cool. Panic Roll is having pizza.
Nice.
Pizza is the best dinner. Well,
can't ever go wrong. It's never a bad choice.
Yeah.
Except for Jerry Maguire that one time, I guess. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
No.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Never mind.
But yeah, Endgame was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was the best. They did absolute best job they could with everything they had to work with.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's made all the money in the world at this
pretty
point.
much, right?
So,
yeah, I there's nothing more that you want out of it. It's perfection. Like
yeah.
The 10-year, 12-year build-up, like the payoff was great. Like it's just amazing.
Yep,
Just
I
amazing.
agree. Kasher, you're saying it was okay? Are you saying Endgame was okay? Okay. All right, just kidding. It was amazing. I was shocked for a second there. Yeah, it was fantastic, and I can't wait. I think maybe next week is still a little too early to talk spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, if it made that much money, though, how many people have seen it?
Yeah, you gotta imagine everybody's seen it at that point, but we'll wait. We'll kind of gauge how people are thinking, what people are thinking for next Monday.
Sounds good.
But just in general, Samson and I both enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, I cried a lot too, both times, because I've seen it twice. So I cried just as much the second time, if probably no more. So.
Yep. Next week is probably about right. Okay, that's good to know. Should do a full stream just on that topic next Monday. That is actually kind of something that I was considering.
Definitely could.
Because we talked about it going into the movie, like the week of the movie's release. So last Monday we talked about it.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we thought was going to happen, some expectations. So I think next week would be enough time between release to like when we talk about it that most people will have seen it. And if not, we will post like spoiler alert messages and stuff like that. So hopefully people get the idea, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that sounds great. I can't wait for that.
The other big geek thing that happened this weekend,
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, of course.
Yeah.
Now, coming from someone who is not a huge Game of Thrones fan, I watched the first season. I read the first 3 books, I think. This is the first time, like this season is the first season I've started watching kind of in full.
Okay.
Previous seasons I kind of just heard scuttlebutt and rumors and spoilers, and watched the occasional clip. But I've kind of been reading a lot on the wiki and stuff like that because there's a lot of interesting lore there, but I'm just trying to say I'm not as big a fan of the show, whereas Samson,
I'm
huge.
there every Sunday night waiting. Yeah.
Again, in general terms,
I mean, I liked it. It was good, but it could have been better. I mean, I don't want to give anything away spoiler wise, but my biggest complaint was the way they filmed it. It was just too dark. You couldn't really see much, and
I can agree with
unfortunate.
that.
It was
Yeah.
unfortunate.
There were a couple of scenes where the darkness kind of added to the scene and the emotion behind it.
Right.
But there were a couple where all it did is make me go, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
And that's not a good experience to have when you're watching anything, even something that's supposed to be scary.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something that's probably controversial. I thought it was a terrible episode. I thought it was badly written. I thought all of the fight sequences were badly put together. Like, there was no real logic behind it. They clearly did it to make cool scenes, more so than to put together what would logically or coherently kind of happen. There were just some decisions made that made me go, what the hell are they thinking?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there was a lot of that. Yeah, it's definitely not what I would have done, but I'm still, I mean, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm okay with how it ended. Like,
me too. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we'll see going forward what happens.
Is it weird? And maybe it's just because I only just started watching this season, but it seemed like it was really abrupt in the way that it kind of went down.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
yeah,
it was
I
like
expected...
blah 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 over, and I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, I guess.
Yeah, so I think...
hold on, let's catch up with chat real quick. There's a lot going on there. Cheeky Ellie's singing again tomorrow. By that point, I don't really think people have an expectation to keep safe from spoilers. Okay. Talking about Endgame. I've never seen Game of Thrones or read more than a few chapters of the book. I know lots from fandom friends. I think you can safely say it was way too dark. Yeah. Apparently there are a lot of memes on that right now about the darkness.
Yeah,
March it with captions so you know at least who was talking. Yeah, I can agree with that. Seen some really funny memes. From what I've heard and seen, I think it was probably a weak episode considering the lead up. It didn't live up to the hype. Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
So it was kind of weird. I saw a meme on Wednesday of last week. It was a picture of Thanos and a picture of the Night King, and it said these two guys are going to ruin Nerdom or whatever this weekend.
Right.
And like that was the anticipation.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird. I felt like, again, Endgame delivered that 12-year build-up.
Yeah.
And I don't think Game of Thrones did.
Considering the fact they were talking about how it was like the most expensive battle scene that's ever been like put on film or whatever the saying was, I don't see it.
Smoke is expensive?
Really?
Snow is expensive?
I guess the CGI element, but I've seen movies that are almost entirely CGI.
Yeah.
I can't imagine...
Yeah, Battle of Helm's Deep. Like
that was huge. There was a ton, but that was a lot of like actual like physical props as well as like CGI.
And the technology was more primitive back then, so it had to be more expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It just... Yeah, considering all the resources that they say went into it, I don't feel like it was I don't feel like the product was worth that price tag. So
I was actually talking to my sons about this last night, and maybe I'm not promising nothing. I don't know anything, but it would be kind of cool if they ran smoke screen and this was not really the payoff, but they let everybody think it was going to be the payoff. And so, like, one of the next episodes is going to be
maybe
is possible.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Something like that, because I mean, historically, that show is shocking for the most part. So I could see that being a thing. But
Do you think the weakness of the episode has anything to do with them being completely independent from Martin at this point?
No, I don't think so, because I think it's been like that for 2 seasons, and it's felt pretty good. And he does have input on a lot of it, so he is kind of like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna write, so do that, type of thing. So I don't think it's that. I just think, again, a lot of dumb decisions based, like, characters that just were kind of out of character, and like it was just a weird episode. It felt like not right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know any other way to say it without spoiling stuff, but
I can agree with that. Night King or Cold-Mort. Nice. Maybe all the extras and costumes. Weta made incredible things for Helm's Deep. Yeah, Weta did some amazing work. I think they worked on all the Lord of the Rings movies, didn't they? Yeah.
I think they actually kind of got started on Lord of the Rings. I think it became a company that kind of birthed it. I believe. I don't know. They might have existed before, but they definitely were way smaller scale. So
yeah. No, they're fantastic, and I would love to have any of the props from that battle sequence. Like,
yeah, that's how I feel about like concept art. I'm just like, please.
yeah, exactly.
Send me on a sketch.
All right, well, so talking about stuff that just happened, let's talk about some stuff that's coming up, kind of the focus of our Geek Out tonight. A few different movies, a few different trailers, previews came out. We've got a couple that we listed off. Are there any that you want to talk about first?
I mean, I don't have a preference. I don't know that I'm more excited than... Maybe Star Wars I'm more excited for, but that's just because... The Last Jedi, I don't know if it's popular or an unpopular opinion, but I didn't really care for it too much. I didn't hate it, like, by any means. It's still Star Wars. I loved it. I mean, I loved Solo, and I know people didn't really care for that movie too much, and I love Rogue One, but I'm really excited to get, hopefully, some closure, full circleness. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little bit split on the Star Wars trailer. Like, I did like The Last Jedi for the most part. I thought there were some weak moments, like with the racing, like the horse racing, but it wasn't horses, whatever the hell it was. I don't know.
The Casino Planet thing.
Yeah, the Casino Planet thing was a little bit weak. But having said that, the trailer for The Rise of Skywalker looks interesting.
Right.
But I got two major problems with it.
Okay.
One is that it's called The Rise of Skywalker, but it's the end of the Skywalker saga.
Right.
What the hell are the marketers and people thinking?
Well, there's some pretty interesting theories about that.
Well, and you'll have to bring a couple up because I don't know any.
Okay.
The other thing that I'm not sure about is the fact that in the trailer you hear the Emperor laughing when they see like the wreckage of the Death Star.
Yeah.
And my thing is, what the hell? They can't be reintroducing the Emperor right before they move out of the Skywalker saga.
I think they're going to, though.
But that doesn't work because then it's basically saying we're still stuck in the Skywalker saga rut.
Right.
But we're getting rid of all the main protagonist characters to bring in other people.
Right.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because they kind of already tried that and it didn't really work so well. Move on from this era. Move on from this storyline. It doesn't all have to be about Skywalker. I'm cool with the Skywalker saga ending.
Right.
Having the Emperor show up, either one or two things is going to happen. It's all going to be a smoke screen, and it's not going to pay off, like to have the Emperor teased, or it's actually teasing him returning as a villain for whatever they do next, and I don't like that either.
Yeah,
like, I'm really disappointed in that.
I mean, I get that he's like a mainstay villain, but he's just not the coolest villain in that universe.
No, he's not.
I bring him back,
Yeah, and he's done. Like they overthrew the Emperor. If you bring him back now, it invalidates everything that they actually accomplished in the original 3 movies, and so like nothing really good came out of all that, and the Emperor is still around being the big bad guy, and I hate that cyclical kind of narrative.
Right. Yeah.
Like, move on past that, is my opinion.
Yeah.
Ellie is Fathers on Canto Bites. I agree. I really didn't care for that whole bit. Does Skywalker just refer to Jedi for a lot of people? Is Palpatine going to act as a Force ghost and try to corrupt Rey? Yeah, I don't know. That last one's a good question.
So the two theories, if you watch the trailer at the beginning of it, at some point Luke says no one's ever really gone.
Yeah.
So that kind of leans towards Emperor, and also to the theory that the Rise of Skywalker is him actually rising up from the grave. So maybe he figures out how to do the thing that Darth Plagueis figured out. So that's one of the leading theories.
Okay, and fine, sure, but again, that still doesn't solve the, them very clearly stating this is the end of the Skywalker saga,
right,
and then having him do, a Hail Jesus, play at the end of the game and coming back to life. Are they gonna have him die again? Because then that doesn't feel weird. Right. Or are they gonna have what the hell's gonna happen? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, the other theory that I've heard, which I actually kind of like this, but it's a weird choice. But the other theory is that Skywalker is going to eventually. That's the term now. The Jedi are dead. Now there are Skywalkers. matters.
And see, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea that the Jedi Order is, like Luke said, it's time for the Jedi to die.
Right.
They become obsolete. We don't need them anymore. They didn't really work in the first place. Ultimately, it was a flawed system.
Right.
And so the idea that he gives birth to an order called the Skywalkers, that's pretty freaking cool, actually. I like that a lot.
So, I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but those are the two leading theories
Right.
I've heard, so I don't know.
Well, I like the latter theory better, which means they're probably going to go with the first theory, because studio executives don't know what they're doing.
Right.
I'm kidding. Ellie says it makes the sacrifices feel meaningless. I agree with that. Like, if you invalidate everything by having the big bad guy that everybody died to defeat come back, you'd think that something like that would take a great deal of power that as a dead guy he should not have access to. Yeah, I mean, the Force has always been about crossing that kind of boundary between life and death. We've never seen a Sith Force ghost before.
No.
Which is interesting.
Kind of Vader, but I mean, he
no,
flipped, right?
He was a Jedi Force ghost.
Right.
He wasn't Sith
right.
as a Force ghost. So, like, it's the kind of thing where we've never seen that precedent before. Even in, like, the games and books I'm familiar with, it's not something that the Sith are capable of doing.
Okay. They get the lightning.
Right, they get the lightning, the Jedi get the Force ghost thing.
Right.
So, it would be interesting to see them break that, but I don't know. I agree with Samson. Skywalker becomes like the Gray Jedi Order, only in the books. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Gray Jedi.
Is that a thing in the books? Like, okay.
Because there's the light, the dark, and then there's the gray. So they were kind of the ones that were like, yeah, the whole Jedi thing is kind of bogus, but the Sith are really evil, and we don't want to go that route either. So, we use the Force for good, we use it for, maybe not so good, but we walk the line between the two.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I would actually love to see that. That would be cool.
Yeah, because let's be honest, like the Jedi code says, show no emotion, don't have any ties to anybody, yada yada yada. Every single Jedi that we see on screen at any point in time breaks all of those.
Yeah.
They break every single one of those regulations.
Yeah.
Like, even Yoda gets upset. Like, he either gets a little bit scared or he gets angry a couple of times. He does establish connections with people, which is why when everything kind of goes to heck with, Order 66 and whatever, Yoda is not completely just like, well, whatever, no big deal.
Right.
Like, come on. We have an Ayla, folks. Cat Cam will hopefully be set up by next week. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on the whole Star Wars thing. I'm excited for it. I do like the scene of Rey running from the TIE fighter and then flipping back. That's pretty awesome. So
yeah, the only thing I'm curious about in that scene, I mean, it implies that it's Kylo, like the gloves and the sleeves
wrong
look
ship,
like
though.
that. Yeah, so I'm kind of curious who it is.
Wait, is it the wrong ship? Hold on.
It's an interceptor.
Yeah, it's a TIE interceptor because the TIE Phantom Striker. What's the name of his ship? Kylo Ren's ship. I forget what it's called. It has a similar design, but it's not the same.
It's
like
had like a half a hex and then some. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's a TIE interceptor. That's what I thought when I saw it. Let's see. Ellie says the middle path to preserve the balance for the Grey Jedi. Prophecy seems to be wrong in that the chosen one bring balance to the Force by destroying the dark. I don't think it's the wrong ship. The Silencer. Oh, TIE Silencer. Yeah, I think that's what it is for Kylo Ren's ship.
Okay.
And it might be because they did have very similar like foil designs.
Yeah. With
the three angled ones and the kind of the gap in the middle with the longer parts of the wings ending in the cannons. So I don't know. It might be that one. It might not be.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens either way.
Yeah.
So I mean, you would think that if it's not Kylo Ren, they wouldn't close like that. They would just try to shoot her from far away. But if it was Kylo Ren, he would want to get close to her because he's, I don't know, trying to run her over. I don't know. It's a weird kind of setup.
Weird. It is weird.
I'd have to see what the context is, but it's a cool looking scene either way.
Yeah.
I have heard that John Boyega said that he is done with Star Wars after this. Like, he doesn't see his character continuing on into any other movies.
Okay.
Which is...
Yeah, I know. Didn't Daisy say the same thing? But she said that after like the first movie, as soon as the trilogy's done, I'm out.
I haven't heard that, but that quite possibly.
Yeah, but I think hers was more kind of because trolls. type
Yeah,
of thing.
people are assholes.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. I know we said this is family friendly, a little bit of a, lack of family friendliness there, but it's true. Yoke looks the same, he's just using it differently. Yeah. So, I mean, it might be the same guy. Or the same ship. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another one. Trolls do ruin a lot of good things. Trolls are the worst. But, sadly, you can't get rid of them all. Unless you use fire. Sorry. Daisy is the daughter of my boss's friend? What? Wait. Your boss's friends with Daisy Ridley's mom? Or dad? That's kind of cool. You're only 2 steps removed from a Jedi.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
So talk to your boss. Have him or her talk to Daisy's parents. Have us introduced to Daisy Ridley, please. I mean, that's all I'm saying. But moving on to the next thing, Brightburn.
I'm actually really excited for this.
Oh, really? Okay.
I am, but I'm not so sure that it looks great. I'm excited for 2 reasons. One, James Gunn is kind of involved, so I mean, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But I do really like. We talked kind of a little bit about like the New Mutants, like horror superhero category. So I'm kind of excited for that. But it doesn't look the greatest, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go pay to watch it, but I'm definitely going to watch it.
I will see it as well. However, Casher says I'm not looking forward to it all. Cheeky Ellie says I don't know how I feel about it. I've only seen one preview. I am probably going to see it in some capacity,
Right.
but I am not at all interested in or excited for or enthusiastic about the concept. I love the idea of the horror movie, like merging horror movies and superheroes.
Right.
I think that's a cool idea. However, that's not what this is ultimately. This is, let's take Superman but make him evil because, we want to see what heroes would be like if they were evil.
Yeah. What if
we
Superman
know what they
were
would
Satan?
be like.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we know what they would be like, especially when it comes to Superman and Batman. They'd be nigh unstoppable, incredibly potent, they'd kill lots of people, blah, 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 blah. It's not particularly interesting when you take someone who always wins when they're the good guy and the odds are against them, and you suddenly make them significantly more powerful than everybody else, and
no natural predators.
No natural predators,
Yeah.
no moral guidelines, no ethics, nothing behind it to make them interesting. I mean, at that point, they just become a bad guy who can do anything, and the heroes are going to have to find some magical MacGuffin to beat them. And I mean, that's kind of, I don't know, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that, like, so in comics, there's a story in DC. We talked about this a little bit with the Batman Who Laughs, who is a Batman who killed the Joker, but then ended up becoming the Joker because he was infected with the Joker's laughing gas, and he kills the whole Bat family, and then he goes on to like collect evil Batmans from other universes, and all. It's whatever. I don't like the idea of taking characters supposed to be heroes and trying to make them gritty and dark and whatever. But more so with Superman, I can't stand it.
Yeah, again, you don't understand the character if you're trying to do that with him, because that's
Yeah.
not what he is. I mean, there's only one time I've ever seen Superman kind of be bad, and it was awesome. Was in Superman 2, the Red Kryptonite, Christopher Reeves,
Right.
the bar scene where he's like breaking the mirror with peanuts and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, that was awesome.
yeah.
But you don't understand the character if you're trying to do that with them, and it seems like they're out of ideas. I guess I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. But Brightburn especially, like,
Yeah.
of course Superman as a preteen
Oh yeah.
discovering the full suite of his powers and then deciding, I don't have to listen to anybody and I'm just going to hurt whoever I want to.
Right.
Of course that's scary.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes a particularly compelling movie unless you're making the focus of the movie on, like, the mom, which there's some implication in the trailers that
Right.
might be the case. At the very least, she plays a heavy role in it. But it just...
Yeah.
I,
Well, Yeah, I mean, again, I'm interested to see it, and it is James Gunn, so I'm hoping that trailer is not what the movie really is. And again, I will watch it, but I'm not paying for it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
Evian. I'm just gonna say Evie, to make your name easier to pronounce. There. Spoiler alert for Endgame. You'll really have to pee by the time the movie is over. Yes, yes, you will. Yeah. I sat through the entire thing, but I still had that moment of like, whew, I can do this.
Yeah, I was squirming in my seat for sure, both times. And I even prepped for it, and still.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. But it was still a good movie overall. By the way, Evian? I don't know. Hi. Thanks for tuning in and joining us.
6 hours.
Cheeky Ellie says no fluids for 6 hours prior. Yeah, I don't subscribe to that. I was a corpsman. I'm always pushing people to drink water. So I had a bottle of water and a large cherry Coke, and I finished both of them by the time the movie was over. And I was, feeling it, but I still made it through the movie. Casher says 55 minutes and 1 hour and 40 minutes are the best times to go pee. Yeah. Apparently those were like
the designated
the lulls
pee breaks,
where you could go do that. Evian Naive is probably how you say the name. Evian Naive. Oh yeah, there you go. That's a good point. I have a bladder the size of a pea. I'd literally die if I tried to hold it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, and actually it's really bad to try to hold your urine for an extended period of time. You can actually rupture your bladder.
Oh, that's horrible.
Which is terrible. There was like some kind of radio contest or something like that where they were basically telling people whoever can drink the most water in the shortest amount of time and then go the longest without having to pee, without peeing.
The mom or whatever.
And like that was a different one. That one she actually suffered from hyponatremia, which is basically desalinization poisoning, where you mess up the saline ratio in your blood, blood cells, and it's really bad. It causes organ failure and stuff like that. But there was another one where they did this contest, whatever, and their bladder ruptured. They had to go into surgery.
That's horrible. I wonder if the radio station's on the line for that.
I don't know. I mean, it might be one of those urban legend things that never actually really happened, but I've heard the stories go around often enough. Anyways, Cheeky Ellie always wondered if the water came. Okay. Moving back to Brightburn. So let's talk about that a little bit more. You did say that James Gunn was involved, right?
He is. I believe he is producing it and had something to do with writing.
Okay.
But I don't think he's directing it. So,
which gives me a little bit of hope because I do like pretty much all the work he's done. Like even Slither, which was his first kind of big movie, was surprisingly entertaining for a campy kind of B movie horror movie.
Yeah.
So that I don't know. Like I said, I will see Brightburn. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. I'm kind of on the side of being like, meh. But I don't know. It might turn out that they do interesting things with it, and the trailers are just showing the most sensational pieces to make you recognize, it's Superman, but as a bad guy and a kid.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's different than what they're advertising because you're right. It's for what they're showing. It's not that interesting, but again, giving them the benefit of the doubt, I'll watch it. Definitely not paying for it.
I agree. So Godzilla, let's talk about that next. Not a huge Godzilla fan here. I've seen a couple of movies and they're fine. I like giant monster movies like Pacific Rim, just fine.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm super hyped about Godzilla, actually. Okay. I loved the first one. I thought it was great.
The first one being the most recent one that came out.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Because they've done a lot with Godzilla, and even modern. Like they did one with. So they did the one way back in the way with Matthew Broderick.
No, that didn't happen.
That was not a great Godzilla movie.
Does not.
Then they did a more recent one with. Well, they made it seem like the guy from Breaking Bad.
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston was going to be a big character in it,
Right.
and I don't think that is how that worked out. I think that's the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that one with Mary Elizabeth Olsen, I think is her name, the Scarlet Witch. She's
I didn't know
yeah,
she was in that.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
And so is actually the guy who played Quicksilver in the Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, they're actually husband and wife, and it's kind of weird.
That's weird. Brother and sister, husband and wife.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know. And then, so in this one, it's Millie Bobby Brown
Right.
that's in it from Stranger Things. So that's why I did Godzilla first, because that's going to lead us into Stranger Things. But I don't know what's.
So it looks like they're again. Historically, I love Godzilla movies, like the old Japanese ones and stuff. I grew up watching that stuff, and I love it. And it looks like Millie is going to be the human connection for Mothra, like the one that summons Mothra. And traditionally, it's always twin Japanese girls.
Okay.
And I'm kind of bummed that it's not, because
it
was kind of like a weird cheesy thing they did, but I always like loved that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that part of it.
That's interesting. I wonder, like, the twins summoning the giant monster thing. I almost wonder if that wasn't some of the inspiration that went into Pacific Rim, having two people pilot the giant robots to fight the monsters.
Maybe. That's possible. I mean, Del Toro, who knows?
Yeah.
He pulls from everywhere.
That's true.
I'd be surprised if it was like a Saturday morning cartoon that got him going or
Right.
something.
I actually didn't know that about, any of the other monsters. I've only ever really known Godzilla.
Okay.
I know he fights Mothra and...
Mothra's actually on his side. They do fight, but
Right.
it's like a misunderstanding.
the heroes always have to fight each
Right.
other before they team up
Right.
against the bad guy. Yeah.
I don't know how
let's
it's
see.
going to go in this one, but it looks like that's the case as well. So
I'll see Godzilla, but I'm not hyped. Imagery looks cool. My siblings are going to go see it, so I'll wait for their verdict. Okay. Interesting. I'll see Godzilla, but next movie for comic. I wish they made a good story on the Hulk. Yeah, Evian, I can agree with that. I feel like they've done some good stuff with the Hulk, but it's all been in the context of other people's movies. They haven't done a solo Hulk movie since Mark Ruffalo took on the role.
right.
And I think that's probably for the best, because the one with Edward Norton was a good movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I liked it.
I don't know that they need to necessarily revisit that aspect of it now that they've kind of introduced like Professor, whoever it was from the movie. They might be able to do some interesting things for a solo movie, but I don't know.
I think it would be cool if, and this is something you mentioned before, maybe bringing his cousin in, like kind of get that story and like him be more of a supporting thing.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Actually expand the Hulk family out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Doc Samson, Jennifer Walters, you could do some interesting stuff with that. So hopefully they will.
Even some of his villains are pretty awesome. So
yeah, they never did come back to the thing with the leader
right
from the Hulk movie. So that was kind of a bummer. Kind of a wasted opportunity. Although I did like the guy who played Emil Blonsky for Abomination.
Yeah.
Like, that was good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. But yeah, Godzilla. I really think the effects on it look really good. Like, I'm impressed with what they've done. I don't. What was the Hydra name? What was the Hydra's name?
King Ghidra.
Ghidra. That's right. And then there's another one, isn't there?
There's Rodan, which is the pterodactyl looking thing. Was there another one?
I thought there was another Hydra. I thought there was a smaller Hydra and then the King Hydra.
Maybe if there's I think, and I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I believe historically, again, based on the old Godzilla movies, King Ghidra is from space, so he's like technically an alien. But it looks like in this he comes out of a volcano or something. Yeah. So maybe it's like a baby version or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, or maybe there's more than one. I don't know. But
could be.
I'm okay with that because I like Ghidra. He's awesome.
Yeah, and the poster you can see on our splash image is really cool. I like the design that they've got for Ghidra. It's pretty classic Hydra.
Yeah.
But they've done a really good job with it, making him look pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The Mule was pretty good for Clint. I kind of liked it. Man, can that man direct and act? The Mule was pretty good for Clint.
Is that a movie? Oh, you're talking about Clint Eastwood, the Mule movie? Is that what you're talking about? The one that he recently did?
I'm not sure.
That's what I think he's talking about.
I'm not familiar with that. I'm not a big Clint Eastwood guy, so. But yeah, going from Godzilla to Stranger Things Season 3. Millie Bobby Brown, The Connection.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
I am too.
I love Stranger Things. It's such a good show. Yeah.
I hope we get to see more of the babysitter duo teaming up again. The Steve and I can't remember the kid's name that's missing the teeth.
Oh, Dusty.
Yeah. That pair was awesome. I want to see them again. Back in
Actually, I think those were probably my favorite interactions in season 2 between those two characters, because I liked the evolution of Steve in season 1.
Yeah.
Like, he goes from being, like, oh, he's going to be the standard jock, bad guy, jerk, and then by the end of it, you're like, okay, actually, this guy seems like a pretty decent person.
Yeah.
And then going into season 2, he's kind of letting his nerd shine a little bit more.
Yeah.
He's not as worried about his image.
Right.
And so as a result, he kind of takes Dusty under his wing, and they become good friends. I just love that, the dynamic between them. It was really good. And the kid who plays Dusty is, like, he's phenomenal. Yeah. I love him as an actor.
Yeah. He's probably actually my favorite actor on that show, to be honest with you.
I think I agree with you. Millie Bobby Brown is probably a close second for me. I really like her as 11. She does a great job. So
yeah, I mean, everybody in that's great.
They really are.
Yeah.
I love that they brought what's her name? She was in Beetlejuice.
Winona
Ryder into it. Like, I don't know. I always liked Winona Ryder. I was kind of bummed when everything kind of went down with her shoplifting and that like blowing up and people deciding that she was never going to act again. And like, there are so many celebrities out there who do so many things that are worse than that. Yeah. And they still go on to make millions, and everybody defends them all the time. And it's like, why did they decide to crucify her over such a minor thing? But I don't know. Come on. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes, because they left it really wide open. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully we get to finally see the Mind Flayer or whatever they were kind of teasing. Yeah. I'm curious to see what that's about. But
I liked season 2 because they range outside of what's the name of the town? Hawkins. Yeah. They range outside of Hawkins, especially with Eleven's storyline. Right. And so they kind of expanded their reach a little bit in this terms of the universe and the setting. And it sounds to me like they're kind of going to do that again this season, because you hear the kind of the lead kid, I forget his name, basically saying, what did you think we were going to do? Sit in our basements playing games for the rest of our lives, Right. And so, like, it kind of implies that they're going to be doing some new stuff this season. Yeah.
Well, the very early promo they did, like, I think in December last year, showed them, like, it was at the mall. They were, like, dancing and singing stuff. So, I mean, that's something they hadn't had before, was the mall. I don't ever remember them going there.
Yeah, I think the mall is new for Hawkins this season. So that'll be interesting to see how that kind of, like, changes things up. But I'm really excited for that show. It's probably the one I've been the most excited for.
July 4th?
Oh, is that when it comes out?
I think so.
I have actually not really been paying that much attention. I'm kind of just waiting for it to come out. Yeah. I don't know. Like, Netflix has done some weird things with some of their shows. Like the Santa Clarita Diet, they just released season 3 of that. And that's been kind of entertaining. And they just announced that it's canceled. Like, they're not canceling it going into the next season.
Yeah, I read an interesting article about how, like, hardly any of their shows have made it past the season 3. So it kind of might be their business plan. That's unfortunate, because then it kind of makes you weary to get into something.
Well, and so here's my thing. Like, if that's their business plan, fine. Japanese TV shows, the ones that I've watched, even a lot of anime, they stick with a very specific structure. Like, okay, this can have 5 seasons. This is the overall story arc. This season covers this part of the arc. This season covers this part of the arc. And when we get to the end, we're done. Right. I'm cool with that. I'm totally fine with that, as long as that's the plan from the beginning, and they're able to work from the beginning of their plot arc to the end of their plot arc, so we know what's happening and we see the whole evolution of the story. But like with Santa Clarita Diet, apparently it ends on a huge cliffhanger.
That's horrible.
And it's like, if you guys were planning on canceling the show, why did you just not just wrap it up?
Yeah.
Like, I realize that some of those decisions don't get made until well after filming and production is done, but for God's sake,
Yeah.
like, greenlight one 1-hour episode so that they can kind of wrap it up and do something with the characters.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I haven't watched season 2 Punisher yet, but I feel that same way about almost every one of those Marvel shows.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, they just didn't wrap them up. Like, I'm hoping Jessica Jones gets some closure because
they see the writing on the
yeah,
wall at this point. Yeah. So like with Daredevil, season 1 was really strong. Season 2 was a bit all over the place, but was still good. Season 3 went back to being really strong.
yeah, it was amazing.
And again, they built it up so that there was like it was hinting at stuff going forward, and then it was canceled. And it's like, okay, fine. Iron Fist I can kind of see being canceled. I still haven't finished watching season 2 because season 1 was so bad.
It ended strong.
Yeah.
It ended really strong, and the implication there was of greater things to come as well.
Okay.
So
I don't know. I think with those shows, though, there's still the hope that they'll come back because Disney sees how popular they are.
right.
So once they get full control over that back from a legal perspective, I would be surprised if they didn't do something, even if it was just to continue like a Defenders show where, you know, there's a couple episodes dedicated to each character, kind of exploring their own individual storylines with them kind of interweaving a little bit throughout. And I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
But for like Stranger Things, that's purely a Netflix thing.
Yeah.
Santa Clarita, purely Netflix. So if they're writing these shows going, yeah, we may or may not, like, make that decision before you end it on a cliffhanger.
Right.
All right, Ellie is saying, agree about Daredevil, it hurt my heart to lose that show. Iron Fist never kept my interest. I liked Jessica Jones' second best, though, so I'm crossing my fingers for that to get better treatment. So for me, for the Marvel shows, it was always Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist was kind of my, and then Defenders.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
Defenders was they dropped the ball on
Yeah,
that one.
they definitely did not do that justice.
Just because Jessica Jones is kind of a jerk, and I get it. She's been through some stuff. She doesn't have to be likable. Yada blah 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 blah. If you want me to watch 2 seasons worth of this character helping people, I would rather it not be like pulling teeth the entire time.
You know what, though? I think for me, more than Jessica Jones, I don't hate it. I like it a lot. But the Purple Man, or Kilgrave, whatever they called him, dude, he's like one of the best villains, I think, in comic books. And they did an amazing job with him. Like, it was just brilliant. So I love season 1 so much because of him.
So, well, and see, the reason that Jessica Jones beats out Iron Fist for me is because the villain in the first season is so compelling, and a lot of the secondary characters are quite compelling.
Yeah.
And you like the people that are surrounding Jessica Jones, even if you don't like her directly.
Yeah.
And so that's what made it bearable to watch for me. And then Luke Cage I liked a lot, actually. I thought, especially season 2, I thought was really strong with, you know, Luke kind of being caught up in the little gang war between the Jamaicans and Mariah and everything like that. And, like, he could have chosen to just stay out of it.
Yeah.
But he was like, I can't really do that because people are going to get hurt. And it's the classic hero dilemma. And I like the guy that got to play...
the Bushmaster?
Bushmaster.
Yeah.
Such a good bad guy.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
And the way that ended, like, how are you not giving me more of that? Like, you cannot walk. That's as bad as the Dark Knight trilogy, the Christopher Nolan with Robin. Mm-hmm. Like, what? Like,
how can you leave it on that,
you
jerk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Defenders was meh. Luke Cage was pretty good, but I wasn't waiting for that to come back. Fair enough. Casher, I found her to be wholly unlikable. She never grew as a person, never worked through things, was always entitled, selfish, and unpleasant. Yeah, she kind of always had that mentality of like, well, I had bad things happen to me, so I'm allowed to do whatever I want. You're not allowed to say anything about it. It's like other people have had bad stuff happen to them too. They still manage to not be complete jerks to everybody that they meet. And
she definitely did that.
Yeah, everybody, even people who were just trying to be nice and help her, she was like, screw you, and it's like, why do I want to watch this character?
I want to hire you. Get out of my office.
Right, like, yeah, like, Casher, the deplorable Iron Fist, it was so bad. Yeah, the first season was really bad. But again, the only reason I finished it to the end was because I liked the villains in it.
The worst casting. I know it's not directly Marvel, but oh my god, I don't know why they went with Finn Jones. Like, again, I liked his character in Game of Thrones, but I don't know what they were thinking with that, because it was horrible.
Yeah, he was a terrible pick, and the writing for it was bad.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you've been practicing for 10 years to master your emotions and be a martial arts master, but every time someone says anything to you, you're going to act like a 14-year-old crybaby. It's like... Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I actually hated that character more than I hated Anakin in the prequels, which is saying a lot, because I hated the way they did that. But
Yep.
Yeah.
Ugh, terrible. Let's see. What are we at? What timestamp are we at? 50 minutes in. All right, let's finish talking about some of the other stuff. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Dude, so in.
I cannot wait for that movie.
Like, I mean, it's Marvel. Just take my money. Tell me when to show up. I'm
Pretty much.
I'm there. I don't even need to see a trailer. I'm like.
Although I do think it's really interesting that. So this is the end of Phase 4 officially. Like
right.
Kevin Feige,
yeah.
Feige,
Okay.
whatever. However you pronounce it, Kevin. He and I are good friends. I'll call him Kevin. He announced that Spider-Man is actually the official end of Phase 4. So
right.
Endgame was like the culmination, the climax. This is kind of the after-dinner mint that's supposed to kind of like let us come down after everything that happened in Endgame. So I'm really excited for Far From Home, but we don't know anything about what's happening after that.
Right.
There's no concrete dates. They haven't officially confirmed any other movies. I think they've said that Black Panther 2 is in production. They've said that there's a Doctor Strange 2 coming.
They've officially cast a couple of people for stuff.
Right.
So there's the Shang Tsung. I'm not sure if I'm saying that.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, Shang-Chi. So they cast that character. So that's happening.
Which is interesting, because Shang-Chi in the Marvel Universe is basically the Bruce Lee. Like, he even kind of looks Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I'm actually not familiar with that character at all.
He's basically a martial artist, kind of in the same vein as, like, Iron Fist. I'm not as familiar with his background, like, what he does, like, what he's involved with.
Do you know if he has any powers or anything? Or?
No, I think he can just fight really well, and, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. If anybody's a Shang-Chi fan from Marvel Comics, please pipe up and let us know. But,
and they did cast I can't remember the guy's name. He's also an Asian guy for the Eternals. He's supposed to be the lead, and I guess yeah. So that's happening too.
Is it?
I can't remember what
the name. Ken Watanabe is jumping into my mind, but I don't think that's him.
No,
I could be wrong.
Ken Watanabe is that the guy from Last Samurai?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because he's in Godzilla.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe I'm getting the two confused. But either way, I'm very interested in the Eternals movie.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
Because in Marvel lore, the Eternals are like cosmic faring beings that are more powerful than the average human. Like, for the most part, they all have superpowers.
Yeah, I mean, if Thanos were a good guy and running around with a group, this is the group he'd run around with.
Yeah.
Because they're all kind of that level of... Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see, like, where were they during all this? Why didn't they show up? Like, that's going to be the major question, I think. Ken Watanabe was in Last Samurai and Godzilla. Okay, so I must have seen him in the Godzilla trailer, and... But I remember seeing that article as well about someone being cast for the Eternals, and I forget who it was.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. I read it. I think I just read the headline though, because it was kind of like in a passing thing. But so I mean, to me though, that's confirmed movie being made.
Yeah,
if they're casting people, and I did hear a rumor that Angelina Jolie was also in talks. Yeah, I'm not excited about that at all.
No,
don't do that.
I think one of the things that Marvel has had going for it for so long is that they don't cast big stars for main roles.
Yeah. Like,
obviously they had Anthony Hopkins as Odin. They had Kate Blanchett as Hela.
Yeah.
Like, so as villains, sure, because the villains don't tend to stick around in the Marvel movies. As supporting characters, again, sure, they don't tend to show up very often. But as main characters, and I can't imagine Angelina coming in for a bit part or for a villain role. Maybe, because she hasn't been in a whole lot lately, so maybe she's kind of just dipping her toes back in. But I don't really like Angelina Jolie to begin with. I don't know.
I like her, but not for this. Like, definitely not for this. She's more of a, I don't know, just do like crime thrillers or something. Like, that's kind of where she fits for me. But But you never know. I mean, again, other than Iron Fist, which they weren't directly involved with, I can't argue with any of their casting choices.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, apparently she's supposed to be in that movie.
In the Eternals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Inception.
Oh, Inception. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
Ken Watanabe was in that. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so they got more people for Eternals.
Huh. Yeah, I'm actually not even seeing an official cast list yet. Oh, that's who it is. Dong Suk Ma and Kumail Nanjiani. The two other names on IMDb's page. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are definitely... Actually, the first one is the one that I noticed, because I think he's Korean?
Yeah.
Okay, so... Yeah, that's who that was.
And then, supposedly David Harbour is attached, and so is... I can't remember, there was a female, pretty big female name, was attached for the Black Widow spinoff. So, David Harbour's supposedly in it.
We're going to have to talk about that next week.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll talk about that next week, because we can't really talk about it with
Yeah.
All right, so... Gemini Man, Men in Black. Are we particularly interested in talking about those?
I mean, I'll watch them both. I don't hate Will Smith, but I'm kind of like not on board with him right now. I don't know, he's just making weird choices to me. That seems interesting.
Yeah.
The concept for it seems pretty awesome, but I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I appreciate that Will Smith is willing to try stuff. Like, After Earth was not a great movie.
I've never seen it.
I've seen clips of it, and it doesn't look particularly good.
Yeah.
But Bright on Netflix was fantastic.
Yeah,
There's supposed to be a sequel for that, and I really hope it happens because it was really well done.
Yeah.
And I like Will Smith. I think he just needs to branch out of the same types of characters.
Right.
So it would be nice to see him do something different.
Yeah.
I don't know how different Gemini Man will be from his other roles, but I like the concept of it enough that I'm interested in checking it out.
Yeah.
It makes me very much think of Looper.
Right.
With what's his name?
Bruce Willis. And,
Bruce Willis and
Joseph
Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see this one come out. Men in Black. I like the duo of Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
I think that'll be fun because they were great as Thor and Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Men in Black movie.
Right.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of good with where we were at on that, but
yeah,
I'll watch
the first
it.
Men in Black movie was the best.
Yeah.
All the ones that came after that were just
sequels,
exponentially worse.
They were just sequels.
So it'll be interesting to see with a completely new cast of characters, kind of how things roll in this one. But might be good, but I haven't really only just seen a trailer for Gemini Man. It might be good, but I haven't been given a reason to care. I can agree with that. I have seen After Earth. It was very meh. Bright was awesome. Yes, very good. Men in Black might be fun, not taking it seriously or prioritizing it all. Yeah, kind of the same. It'll be a good popcorn flick just to go sit and just kick back, watch, not think too hard about.
Yeah.
So, yep. I think we're all kind of on the same page with that. What about everybody else? Any trailers that you've seen recently that you're interested in, TV or movies?
There was one other one. What was it? I was telling you about it. 21 Bridges. It has Chadwick.
Oh, Chadwick Boseman, right?
Yeah.
And you said it was a crime drama.
Yeah, and it's directed by the Russo brothers.
Interesting.
And it looks really good. I guess he's like this detective, from what I gather from the trailer, he's a detective that specializes in capturing cop killers. And these two criminals actually kill some cops, and he kind of shuts down Manhattan to catch him.
Mm.
It looks really good. I liked it. So
Interesting.
I would definitely want to watch that.
Okay. All right. I'll have to check that out too because I like Chadwick Boseman quite a bit.
Witcher, yes.
Oh, The Witcher. That's the series with Henry Cavill in it,
Yeah.
right? Is it Amazon or Netflix that's doing that?
I think it's Netflix. Is it Netflix? I think it's Netflix.
Wait, that comes out this year? Good God, they only started working on it last year.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy. I can kind of see that, like, some of the other streaming services and stuff like that and other networks, they're going to try to strike while the iron's hot. Like, Game of Thrones is going to be over.
Right.
And so turning around and, like, releasing their own, like, high fantasy, high production value, like,
It's smart.
epic
Yeah.
show, they're trying to take the place for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I mean, somebody needs to.
Yeah.
It's a big audience.
And they've got a couple things going for them. I mean, The Witcher's a very popular video game series, but you've also got Henry Cavill. A lot of people like him from Mission Impossible and from
Man from Uncle.
Man from Uncle,
Yeah.
as well as Superman. So, like, I can kind of see them, having some success with that. I haven't played much of the games. I think I played The Witcher 2 for about 15 minutes and was like,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the combat system, and I kind of put it away and did play the other games. But I'm willing to check it out.
Yeah.
So
He looked cool. Like the test shots I saw him as Geralt
Oh, I haven't
or
seen
whatever. Yeah, he looked awesome. He
Okay.
did a pretty good job, so
awesome.
I'll definitely check it out.
It was set for November. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So I'll keep an eye out for that in November. Man from Uncle was a really good movie, and I'm really bummed it didn't
Where's
get.
that sequel?
Yeah, I'm sad it didn't get picked up for a sequel or anything because it was Henry Cavill and who was
Arnie Hammer, I think, was the
was it Arnie Hammer? Okay,
Yeah.
I like Arnie Hammer.
And what's
actually.
I cannot remember the girl's name.
The lady's name? I don't remember
Yeah,
either.
she was in Tomb Raider and stuff too, but she's pretty awesome too. I think all three of them did an amazing job in that.
Okay. Yeah. It's a good movie. Hopefully we'll get a sequel. We'll see what happens. Arnie tried to push a sequel through by announcing it. Alicia Vikander. That's right. She was the new Lara Croft.
Yeah.
And everybody said she did a great job, but the movie itself was kind of nah.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, I mean, there it is. It is what it is. We are going to jump over into doing the comic book stuff at this point. So yeah, give us just a moment, and we will be back on in about a minute or two. So we'll see you then. Actually, we're not going to go offline. We're just going to switch channels, but we're going to mute and everything for just a moment. So we'll be back online in a minute. Alrighty, folks.
And we're back.
We are back. How's it going?
Hey. We missed you a lot.
Ayla is back as well. She just wanted to make sure that announcement was made. So, let's pull up the script and everything. I should have had this ready to begin with. I'm so unprofessional. Close that. Oops, that's the wrong folder. See, this is why I should have had it up to begin with. You wouldn't have to watch me stumbling through my folders. Villains and Henchmen, comic tie-in, Ravensdale writes comics, Powerhouse. Alright. Yeah, good girl, Ayla. And zoom. Gotta finish getting my bed set up. My cat barked on my comforter, so I need to peace out. Ah, I feel bad, like I'm only here for the fandom, but not the comic. Sorry about that. That's okay. We totally get it. I know you're a couple hours ahead, so you have to get some sleep. Sorry your cat decided to cough up a hairball right on your comforter. That's the worst. But yeah, thanks very much for joining us in Geeking Out and chatting and everything. Make sure you get some sleep, and we will see you next time.
All right.
Girly. All right. So, as far as the actual comic book goes, we were pretty far along, actually. I think we had just done... Yeah, alright. So we were working on finishing up the fight between Procyon and Shatterstone. So that's where we left off on page 19. Before we jump into that, though, let's check in with Samson and see what we're working on over here.
So this is the page I was working on last week. Again, a lot of stuff went down this week, and I didn't get very much progress done at all, unfortunately, but I'm going to try and get this all rendered out with pencil tonight and maybe start inking it. So
Nice. The line work and everything looks really strong.
thank you.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I am capturing the same face over and over.
Video buffering, use the low latency toggle in the advanced menu and settings to disable low latency mode. I don't know what's going on. We've actually had we had Cox come out and take a look at our router and everything like that this last week, and they said they fixed it, but we're still running into dropping our stream strength. I don't know why. Huh. I'm even plugged in, like hardwired in, so I don't know what the issue is.
That was weird.
But we'll figure it out. Alright, well, anyways. Let's get into... We've got the last few pages here. Alright, we've got pages 19 and 20 kind of summaried out for like what's going to happen on them. It's just a matter of expanding on that and making sure that we're good to go. I don't know what Ayla's problem is, but she's decided she absolutely has to have it addressed immediately. So Sarah is actually working on that right now. Alright, so we've got Shatterstone swinging the boulder at Procyon. Next page starts with Procyon catching it, and the two of them kind of like facing off. How many panels do we have? 5, 4, 1. Okay, cool. Alright, so this one I think is probably good as a two panel thing. One of, Procyon catching it, the other one of them kind of like, oh no, I guess it'd have to be 3 panels. Because he catches it, they like kind of strain, and then the boulder just kind of breaks apart.
Right.
So that would have to be 3 panels. Okay. That works. Easy enough to do that. So panel 1, panel 2, panel 3. What am I trying to say here? So he catches the boulder, and he catches it with enough strength that it kind of like his hands kind of make indents. The indents isn't the right word. Like,
So it starts to crumble, like there's a...
like he catches it, and it like his hands kind of sink in, and there's like some cracks around where he catches it.
Okay. I'm not sure what the correct
Yeah,
word
I'm not
is,
sure.
but
I'm not sure the right way to describe it is.
Yeah.
So I'll make it work. Catches the boulder with to create a spider web of cracks around his hands. There we go. That's the way I want to describe that.
Nice.
So he catches it with enough force that it kind of like cracks a little bit just around like where his hands grab the rock. So then panel 2 is going to be Shatterstone and Procyon. You know, it looks like we're having some issues with the stream. It's actually freezing up and buffering a lot. So we may end up actually kind of calling it early tonight if this doesn't fix up or doesn't clear up, which it doesn't look like it's going to do, to be completely honest. I'm not sure what the issue is, but I don't want to continue the stream if it's going to constantly get choppy and everything like that for everybody. So yeah, let us know if you're running into any serious issues, or if the stream is running into any serious issues, and if it's affecting your ability to really understand what's going on. And if so, then we will talk about maybe just cutting it now. Alright, so they're kind of straining, holding the respective ends of the boulder. Cracks are beginning to form along the length of the boulder. Alright, so once the boulder snaps, you know, a shower of rock kind of goes in all directions. Shatterstone basically like raises one arm to shield his face. Procyon flies up and back to kind of avoid the debris. Several stones and the larger rocks bounce off of both combatants. It's kind of thing where ultimately they probably weren't going to be really threatened by this, you know, shrapnel. But it's still kind of that reaction of like something just exploded in my face and kind of recoiling as a result. So I think that kind of gets the point across. Whether or not there needs to be any dialogue here, I mean, there could always be sound effects. You know what? I'll circle back around to that a little bit later. I don't know.
It really just depends on how much of a smartass you want Procyon and or Shatterstone to be, I guess.
Right. I mean, we've kind of hit the point where Shatterstone knows he doesn't have to pull any punches, but he also is like, okay, this guy might actually beat me, and I don't want him to take me in, so he's gonna go for broke.
Right.
And so I kind of feel like it's at the point where they're focused enough that they're not necessarily
too serious for small chat.
Yeah, exactly. But we might have some narration from Procyon because again, he is narrating this to a group of people.
Yeah.
So we're at, that is probably where I'm going to go with it, just to add some flavor and everything like that. In fact, yeah, let's do that. Sorry, our oven timer just went off.
Actually scared me.
I did not realize that my wife set that timer. It's okay. You gonna go for it?
Mm-hmm.
Go on. You're gonna be in frame for a second. Alright. A little bit of background noise there. This time not the cats. I know, shocking. Alright, so Procyon. Oops, not internal, it's supposed to be narration. So he says, fighting Shatterstone was the first true test of just how strong I could be. Wasn't pulling punches anymore. I had to...
Sorry about that. And that.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You can hear the thinking. Yeah, sorry, a little bit focused there.
I mean, I could start singing, but nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. So he says, fighting Shatterstone was the first true test of just how strong I could be. I wasn't pulling punches anymore. I had to ramp up my response if I was going to win. I don't know if I like that particular line, but it's the general idea that I'm going for, so I'll go back and I'll tweak it a little bit. Then he ends off saying, but I can feel myself getting tired. I had to end the fight and fast. And that's going to lead into the next... It's going to lead into the next panel. So Procyon grabs Shatterstone while he's stunned. Zips into the air. Shatterstone passes out. Okay. So a little bit more dialogue from Procyon, a little bit more narration.
stomach is like,
growling.
yeah.
So Procyon says, you know, I had to fight smarter. I had to fight smarter. Yeah, I'll just leave it with that. And then the next one he's gonna say. Take away his weapons. And I could. Yep. Okay, so it looks like our connection issues are persisting. We're not quite sure what's up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to finish up the panel descriptions and dialogue for this page, and then we're going to cut the stream for tonight. And then we will try to fix the issue so that we can come back and have everything fixed up for next week. So that's the plan. But since we've only got a few more minutes, let's see, what are we at? We're at hour and 22 minutes, and it is 8:30. So let's do another 5 minutes. We'll end at 8:35. Hopefully, I can get page 20 scripted out, but before that happens. Alright, so he says he had more finesse, more control with his powers, and had to take away his biggest advantage. So... Alright. So we got some dialogue there, kind of doing some exposition, explaining the thinking behind what's happening. So he says, I had to fight smarter, he had more finesse, more control with his powers, so I had to take away his biggest advantage. Then the next panelist says, without any big rocks to throw at me, the thinner air at high altitude did the job for me. I'm actually going to add something there. Without any big rocks to throw at me, he was... I don't want to say like at my mercy or anything like that, but... The thinner air... Okay, so without any big rocks to throw at me, he couldn't put up much of a fight. The thinner air at high altitude did the rest of the work for me. Yeah, I like that. I think that works. So, panel 1, Procyon zooms Shatterstone to fall unconscious. His eyes are rolling up into the back of his head. I think that's all we need at that point. Like, so Procyon grabs him, flies up into the air. Shatterstone starts to fall unconscious. Procyon kind of is explaining again to the people that he's narrating the story to why he did what he did and what the outcome was, to kind of allow the readers to piece together exactly what's happening. You would think it's fairly self-explanatory based on the images, but it isn't always, so that's the reason we're going to go that route. And I think that works pretty well. That it's a classic use of exposition, especially in comics.
Yeah.
Well, if I angle this beam just right, it'll reflect off the thing and then fuse the blah, 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 and, they always do that kind of stuff in comics. Less so these days in most comics. They kind of let the reader figure it out on their own. But all right, so that is 3 panels there. All right, so we got 2 pages written out. Page 19, page 20, kind of putting the final touches on that fight with Shatterstone. I am gonna tweak it a little bit more, kind of in a rewrite session, probably in a future session. A future stream, I should say, but I'm happy with that the way it is. So what that means is that we're gonna next session, next stream, next Monday, next week, whatever we want to say. We're gonna go into the last couple pages. Maelstrom's gonna show up. She's gonna kind of defeat Procyon fairly easily because he's used up a lot of what energy he had, and kind of leave him with the lesson that the heroes don't always win. So, that's where that's going to kind of leave off. And then we're going to do the final page where Procyon's kind of sitting there talking to all the other heroes. So that'll be cool. I think that means we're going to need a 23rd page. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that now so that it's not an issue for next time. Cool. So 23 pages, are we okay with that?
Yeah, that works.
If this ever did see the light of day in a print copy, we would need a 24th page, wouldn't we?
Well, I mean, there's some other stuff we're working on that could be promoted.
True.
Or teased, so...
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that the last page can be like a teaser for the next origin story that we're going to do. So I think that's probably the way to roll with that. Speaking of the next one, are we doing Velocity next? Is that the plan?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I have to talk to that guy about that.
Yeah.
See if he still is interested and available.
That'll be a lot of